Hey, today I will be talking about the Zodiac. The Zodiac might be the oldest and most sacred philosophic conception of the manifestation of the spiritual or the divine within the celestial creations of which there are any record. These teachings precede Greeks and Egyptians, coming down to us through them from the ancient Atlanteans. What is interesting is how the configurations of the planets have been calculated and confirmed as correct by modern astronomers. For example, the Great Pyramid in Giza was constructed on a very accurate astronomical calculations that the main passage leading down to the king's chamber was placed at such an angle that the rays from the pole star of that age shone straight down the passage to rest upon the sarcophagus in the center of the chamber. This indicates that the ancient Egyptians possessed a knowledge of the zodiac and planetary influences in many respects greater than that of the present day, even though they were apparently without astronomical instruments. The 12 signs of the zodiac constitute the grand man and rule different parts of the body. Many of the signs of the zodiac have animals and symbols, and the forces of the zodiac which work over humanity are intended to try, test, and examine into every trait of human character. And until man is able to conquer these forces and not allow his lower nature to dominate him, he is far from perfection. In the writings of the occult masters, we are admonished to conquer these monsters of the zodiac, rule and control them. Otherwise, they will rule us and lead us astray and into many trying situations. The number 12 is called the number of fruition or the manifested nature. Original circle of divine manifestation is marked off into two equal divisions by the fourfold expression of divinity, the triangle or the trine within it. Number 4 is the number of mundane manifestation, and it was thought that the cycle of cosmic expression is not complete until the divine triangle has manifested in fourfold manner. Thus 3 times 4 equals 12. It was also said that when you add 1 plus 2 and get 3, this is showing that the 12 are all varying manifestations of Trinity. So the necessity of representing the fourfold manifestation of the divine trine within the circle of its manifestation is the fundamental reason for the 12-fold division of the zodiac and the cycles of time. This seems to be the answer to the question why, since 10 is the number of completion, the zodiac is divided into 12 and not 10 signs. Circle contains 360 degrees, and when 4 equilateral triangles are inscribed within it, they divide any circle into 12 equal parts of 30 degrees each. In the zodiac, these divisions are called signs, and each is represented by the figure of an animal or object or human, which symbolizes the chief constellation of stars in the sign. This circle, mostly made of animal figures, is called the zodiac, and this word zodiac derives from the Latinized form of the ancient Greek zodiakos kyklos, meaning cycle or circle of little animals. Some exoteric philosophers stated that these animal symbols were suggested to the mind of the primitive man by his observing the heavens and seeing the constellations as the outlines of the animals chosen. But this is probably not correct, as there is really nothing in the arrangement of the star groups in the constellations which even remotely suggests the animals selected. In fact, these symbols are traced with great difficulty in the heavens, even with the aid of a star map and with a knowledge of what is sought. The animals chosen for the zodiac were chosen because their common and well-known characteristics express most closely the built-in properties of the currents of force poured forth through the constellations. In the Brahmanical or Hindu zodiac, the signs are all presided over and dedicated to one of the great gods. So Aries to Vishnu, Taurus to Yama, Gemini to Pavana, Cancer to Surya, Leo to Soma, Virgo to Kartikeya, Libra to Kanya, Scorpio to Kamadeva, Sagittarius to Ganesha, Capricorn to Pradyumna, Aquarius to Indra, and Pisces to Agni. But these 12 may differ, and they reappear in the Hindu tales, sometimes in dark, sometimes in gleaming forms, as the 12 hours of the day or night, or the 12 moons of the lunar year. In the ancient Sefer Yetzirah, or the Hebrew Book of Formation, the zodiac is represented by the 12 simple letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So He is predominant in speech and is connected with Aries, which rules the head, face, and intellectual faculties, of which speech is the natural expression. Vav is predominant in mind and also in hearing. It is connected with Taurus, which rules the neck, and because in the throat is an important center which has much to do with the transformation of thought into speech, the connection can be seen clear. Zion is connected with Gemini, which rules arms and heads, by the movements of which thoughts are executed. Heth rules the sight, feelings, and imagination. It is connected with Cancer, which rules the breast or chest. Teth is predominant in love and is connected with Leo, which rules the heart. Yod is connected with Virgo, which rules the solar plexus, bowels, and uterus. This represents the celestial virgin, the sign rising at the birth of all saviors. Yod is also the Alpha and Omega of all numbers, the divine one from which all are born. So this answers in a mystical way raised question concerning the Immaculate Conception. Lamed is connected with Libra, which rules the kidneys, loins, and ovaries. It is connected with sleep and dreams. Nun is connected with Scorpio, which rules intimate organs. Samech is connected with Sagittarius, which rules liver, thighs, and hips, and it is also connected with a sense of smell and perception. Ayin is connected with Capricorn, which rules the knees. It is also connected with anger and pride. Tzadi is connected with Aquarius, which rules calves and ankles, and it is connected with taste. Kaph is connected with the sign Pisces, which rules the feet, and it is also predominant in mirth, high spirits, or cheerfulness. Another interesting ancient research done by certain biochemists has shown connection of 12 mineral salts with the signs of the zodiac, and it goes something like this. Aries in the brain is connected with potassium phosphate, sodium sulfate with Taurus and elimination of water, potassium chloride with Gemini and the animal tissues, calcium fluoride with Cancer, the teeth, and elastic fiber, magnesium phosphate with Leo and the nerve membranes, potassium sulfate with Virgo and oil, hair, and nails, sodium phosphate with Libra and acids, calcium sulfate with Scorpio and tissue cleansing, silica, which was also called the surgeon of the system, with Sagittarius, calcium phosphate with Capricorn and the bones, sodium chloride with Aquarius and the control of water, and ferrum phosphate with Pisces, the blood and vital energy. Cosmically, the circle is the great deep of the zodiac in which the solar system is brought forth, as well as the great deep of waters which covered the earth when it was without form and void, this globe being but one of the later numerals brought into being in due season by the Spirit of God moving on the face of the waters of our space. The Chaldeans call the circle of the zodiac Absu, or the realm of divine knowledge, because it is the space within which the cosmic system manifests, or that it is the dwelling place of all intelligent powers which invisibly rule the universe. Sun may be compared to a jewel in the lotus of the zodiac, radiating its white light to each sign. And as this light reaches the planets, they break it up like a prism, and each appropriates and embodies one dominant color ray. And while the ray differentiated by each planet is poured out to all the signs of the zodiac, it is focused in the particular signs over which its planet rules. It also has greater power in whatever sign the planet may be transiting, but it is more or less modified by the dominant color of the sign, as well as by the colors of the other planets that may be in that sign. So each sign catches the positive or negative ray of its ruling planet and acts as a great reflector, which sends forth that color ray with all the forces into all creations brought forth under that sign, but modified by the characteristic of that sign through which it passes. Each sign contains so-called 3 doors or divisions of 10 degrees, which are called decanads, each of which is approached by 10 steps and ruled over by a different planet. So the 30 degrees of each sign signify 3 steps in evolution, for as each sign is the vehicle of one of the 12 characteristic forces of the universe, at every 10 degrees a new cycle or aspect of that force is encountered. So each sign has a planet which rules the sign as a whole, but it also has as sub-rulers or co-rulers the planets which rule the sign which form the other 2 members of the same triplicity. So as Aries governs the head, it is called the sign of the thinker and is ruled by Mars, with the Sun and Jupiter, rulers of the 2nd and 3rd fiery signs, as sub-rulers. Its symbolic animal is the ram, so those born under this sign will exhibit the general characteristic of that animal as well as those of Mars. The first 10 degrees are ruled by Mars, whose clear bright red blends with purple color of the preceding sign Pisces, thus producing the dark purplish red, which is typical of the most earthly aspect of the animal nature. The first 10 degrees therefore express the most pushing and dominating tendencies of the ram, which uses its horns to force its way through bushes and hedges, fighting to maintain its leadership, just as the same division of thinkers use their powers or horns to overcome all physical obstacles and maintain their leadership in the practical administration of affairs as warriors, managers, executives, and so on. The 3rd decanate is ruled by Jupiter, and the red is darkened by blending with the earth browns of the next sign Taurus. So this decanate expresses more blindly stubborn aspects of the ram. The individuals of this decanate may always try to dominate and lead, but as their color is more or less clouded, they may not see clearly and may not always have the ability to guide or lead wisely. Only in the middle decanate are the forces of the sign balanced, as only here does the pure living stream of the divine life force expresses in its clear, radiant red, because it is illuminated by the white light of its ruler, the sun. So this decanate of Aries represents the pure and gentle aspect of the ram. This means that it was believed, and maybe it still is, that only in the middle decanate of each sign does its pure color manifest. I do not completely agree on this. But it was said that the first and last decanates are being modified or tinted by the color of the adjoining sign, while the color of every other planet, as it sweeps over a particular sign, casts its color over that of the sign's dominant color, thus modifying and changing it in an infinite variety. I do agree, however, that the zodiac is a kaleidoscope of colors ever-changing, flashing, and blending in a never-ending harmony. Astronomically and astrologically, there is a lesser and greater zodiac. The lesser zodiac, which is usually indicated when the word is used, is the circular zone or belt of constellations in the heavens through which the Earth passes in its annual revolution about the Sun. This lesser zodiac is the one upon which most Western astrologers base their calculations, and these calculations are based on the fact that the relations between the planets and the signs express periodically recurring manifestations of cosmic forces which affect mankind in characteristic ways. But since the lesser zodiac is more or less limited reflection of the greater, calculations based upon it can only be general and approximate. The greater zodiac is the greater belt in the heavens through which the sun and its whole system of planets passes in the cycle of the year, or magnum annus. Some modern astrologers consider the cycle to be determined merely by the precession of the equinoxes due to the movement of the pole of the equator around the pole of the ecliptic. But there are other teachings of the ancient esoteric wisdom once known and taught by the ancient Chaldeans and Egyptians. So instead of passing through each sign of the greater zodiac in 1 month, as does the Earth in the lesser zodiac, the Sun and its system of planets requires a 12th part of a specific number. From the viewpoint of Plato, the Sun takes 25,920 years to complete its revolution, or 2,160 years to traverse each sign. In this way, the Tauran age was when the vernal equinox of the sun appeared in the sign Taurus, at the close of which occurred the exodus of the Hebrews from Egypt, and during which the bull or calf was the object of worship and was represented with the golden disk of the sun between its horns. The Aryan age, during which ram was worshipped as the symbol of the sun god. The Piscean age, whose symbol of the fish was the emblem of Jesus, the disciples of whom were all represented as fishermen and called fishers of men. And very recently, solar system has entered the sign of Aquarius, or the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And this is it for today. But not to forget, no zodiac sign is better than another, because to be fully creative and to fully evolve, we eventually have to learn all 12 lessons that signs teach over 1 or more lifetimes. And this can be looked at like 12 different school subjects that we learn by experience. It is important to keep in mind that astrology and natal chart does not control us. So refrain yourself from believing in what you read in the newspaper or on the internet. Usually it is not correct. Some of these writings are some of the most misleading representations of astrology. Today's quote is by Edgar Cayce. He was an American clairvoyant known as the sleeping prophet, or the father of holistic medicine, who wanted people to think of him as a healer and not a psychic. He worked in trance, meaning he talked while sleeping and answered questions about past, future, and health. His life story is quite interesting, how he became the most documented psychic of the 20th century, but I will not get into that today. I have chosen this quote by him. The signs of the zodiac are karmic patterns. The planets are the looms. The will is the weaver. Thank you for being here today. Please subscribe and press a like button. Let me know your thoughts, and I will be seeing you in a couple of days. Bye.